All right, so this one is going to be a little bit funny because I don't often get to watch content from Moist Critical, but I think that the subject that he's going to be covering is rather interesting and might be a little bit insightful for some out there. This one he's calling the brainwashing situation being crazy, and I think that I know what he's referring to. So just for good measures, I think that we're going to call this insiders trading.
I remember growing up thinking that brainwashing and mind control was just something you see in comic books and cartoons, but now I know it's a very real thing that you can see happening daily in this country. Now, the big thing I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about a lot here. There's going to be a bunch of blabber in here and drool coming out of my mouth as I'm spitting because I'm about to be getting pretty passionate. The big focus is on the huge crypto collapse from yesterday. And the very suspicious, very lucky trader who was able to cash out $190 million off of it because they were shorting Bitcoin and Ethereum a day before and all the way up until a minute before Trump's Truth Social post announcing the massive tariffs on China, which crashed the entire market. And then 30 minutes later, they cash out $190 million. It seems like they might have known something, but that can't be, right? That would be corruption. And this administration doesn't engage in that kind of nefarious activity.
Just to give you a little bit of a clarifier on what is going on here, there's been a $190 million insider trading deal done yesterday. As the crypto market was crashing, someone made those 190 millions, and that of course in light of the tariff that seemed to have been preempted by this trader, who might have been somebody in the sitting administration inner circles. And there's a lot of reason to think that this is the case, because I don't know about you, the COVID lockdown situation had me and some friends of mine actually getting into reading about this stuff, because one of them was kind of lucky with the whole Wall Street bet situation and got some money out of that. Anyways, I don't presume that I need to tell you how the stock market works. You can look it up yourself, but what is important for us now is the law. For you see, in the United States, they have laws against what they are calling insider trading, which is the buying and selling of stock by corporate insiders who have access to non-public information that could affect the stock market. As an example, there are people who have made fun of on this channel, and I'm going to keep this bipartisan for fairness sake. There's the oldie with the massive hunkers who got rich off of Nvidia stocks, Nancy Pelosi, who sold a boatload of Nvidia stocks right before it was eviscerated by a Chinese startup. There's the CrossFit mom with a specific interest in Jewish space lasers and Hunter Biden's dick, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who, I mean, she does, who was called out by one of her own constituents, thank God, for buying stocks in dozens of companies, including, what was it called? Restoration Hardware? Something of the sort. Like, she got like 100,000 or so out of the liberation tariffs. And of course, before they got announced. And of course, very important for this story is the fact that DJT, for the very first time, signed a federal cryptocurrency legislation, which, I don't know about you, wasn't the whole point of crypto to get away from the government? I'm flabbergasted, okay? If I can find a video that shows when he signed that bill, you are likely going to be seeing his cronies just laughing there in the background, like, ha, 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 meme quaint. The thing is that doing insider trading can be a criminal offense, obviously, as it should be. In fact, if you are a Congress member, there's a specific law for you called the Stock Act, called the Stop Trading on Congressional Knowledge. Quippy, I know. Kind of cute. Now, if I've done my editing correctly, by the end of this video, I would have at least showed some stock charts from a company called Quiver Quantitative, which has been the company that is like a company that uses alternative public data sources to help retailers make better decisions in the stock market. And it is often through that company's app and other stats that they use, services that they provide, that politicians have used to oust their constituents in engaging in insider trading. And the funniest part is that the app works so well because it is literally tracking members of Congress. Now, there are already a lot of ethical problems with this, but what makes this situation extra bad is that anybody who has not been blind and or just kind of wanted to suck up to their own size recently would have understood that a lot of people who have been sucking up to the administration as of late and capitulating to their demands did so because of the wonderful get-rich-quick scheme that has been literally offered to them. Crypto especially has been one of the ventures towards which people could work towards, right? But AI is one of the important ones. Anyone knows, as an example, that Jensen Huang has a huge part of the market by the balls because graphics cards, they are used to do the processing of a lot of the data centers as well as mining the coins. So you can imagine where it goes. Or actually, I don't think you can. Because those in charge of spying on the American people with companies like the likes of Palantir and the Antichrist.
When you tell me a story about the Antichrist coming to power and using the fear of technological change to sort of impose order on the world, I feel like that Antichrist would maybe be using the tools that you were building.
To some of his best buddies who want better defense contracts, especially now when they've incited violence on American soil and abroad, are kind of waiting for an excuse to go apeshit. A lot of these AI companies have made their services available to US government agencies, including those that are working on defense and national security applications. I think that literally quoted OpenAI or some other, it could have been Llama or something of the sort. I kind of researched that through the last video that I posted out. So least to say, politicians with that kind of insider knowledge do a lot of damage.
Except for all the previous times that this exact same thing has happened with Trump announcing things on Truth Social that people close to him that suckle his fucking teats must have had insider knowledge on because they're able to cash out millions upon millions of dollars because of his rinse and repeat cycle of threatening tariffs, backing off tariffs, postponing tariffs, just fluctuating the market up and down. Yet people in his inner circle must be privy to this knowledge because they are making absolute bullseye trades based on that before it becomes public.
As an example, here's CoffeeZilla, who actually followed these things through in the 24 hours where this stock was shorted so meticulously.
I don't even know what this is. I think this is all legal, kind of. I don't think it should be, as you'll see. But the question is, what did this guy know? Okay, how did somebody make $190 million while everyone else was losing their shirts yesterday? If you don't know, there was one of the biggest crashes we've ever seen in crypto. And someone came in 24 hours before and started placing shorts against the market. Short is just when you bet that the underlying asset is going to go down in price and you will make money on that. Now, this all started October 9th at 16:39 GMT time. They start accumulating this Bitcoin short. They initially put, and this is not chump change, guys. This isn't under your couch, pennies. This is $80 million that initially gets deposited, and they start placing shorts against Bitcoin, okay?
And I said before that Green, as an example, got like 100K, didn't she, in total, for her stock trading in companies even like Nvidia, which she invested in.
That's fine. Now, the amount is unusual, but that itself is not the unusual part. Then we have Ethereum starts to get shorted at 349 GMT. Interesting. $30 million gets deposited into this account, immediately start placing major bets that the market is going to go down. Why is this significant? Well, because at 14:57, this is only a few hours later, like 12 hours later, Trump posts on Truth Social that they are calculating a massive increase on Chinese tariffs. This is due to a rare earth mineral dispute. But the point is,
rare earth mineral dispute is not just something that you gloss over. I kind of went over that in my AI video a few days ago. Materials like silicon and gallium are super important when you are making the chips that are being used and all the semiconductors and all that jazz, which of course the US has kind of like a monopoly on. I don't think the monopoly is the right word here, but they hold huge stocks in that. But China, as an example, does a hell of a lot of the refinerings of these materials, so that's where they come in play. So when they actually decide to say that, hey, we're going to hold a lot of this behind, it becomes a huge problem for the US.
This is due to a rare earth mineral dispute. But the point is, nobody knew this was coming, except, of course, maybe this guy, because he's already got these multi-million-dollar shorts. Now, where I think...
Which is one of the reasons why I say that this is also closely tied to the deals with the tech bros, right? It's the biggest growing industry, so somebody who has connections to that likely would know about all this.
I think this goes from suspicious to downright diabolical, is the fact that at this point, the market dips a little bit because you have these threats of tariffs. But the person does not start closing out their shorts yet, which I think is very interesting. If you place this huge short bet and then the president tweets something like this, you would think you would close out your order. But not only
Yeah, but that's...
do they not do that, not only do they not close out their short, they continue to place short bets against Bitcoin. In fact, this...
And one would think that the person would do it, especially when it comes to how the president has been doing, like Charlie explained before, this, what did people call it? Taco, Trump always chickens out. That's been the thing, beside, of course, from China, where a lot of the tariffs that will be imposed on companies will then be never truly enacted.
This person continues to short Bitcoin all the way up till 2049, 23 GMT. Why is that significant, ladies and gentlemen? It's because 2049 is the last short he places, okay? 2050 GMT. A minute later, 1 minute later, Trump announces they're considering an 100% tariff on China, which of course tanks the market, and this person makes literally $190 million.
Insane. And so we come back to this one.
So this isn't really anything new, it's just the most egregious instance because you can literally see it. This account opens and starts shorting Bitcoin and Ethereum a day before this announcement, and then a minute before the Truth Social post goes live. Like, it's unbelievable. And if you're a MAGA cultist, it actually is unbelievable. They refuse to believe it. They refuse to accept the very real reality that they are getting fucking hosed. Trump and Trump's family's net worth has exploded since becoming president. How do you defend that? Well, I'll tell you how. Because they say Trump is such a benevolent saint, he actually doesn't even keep his salary from being president. Wow, that's how much he cares about the American people. You fucking delusional homunculus. The presidential salary is actual peanuts. It's literal fucking used condoms in the grand scheme of how much money him and his family are making throughout his presidency.
God, don't you miss the days of Jimmy Carter? President Cardigan? Bro was a shining beacon on agriculture. He lived in a house that was less expansive than the Secret Service vehicle that was parked outside of it. Dude was like the most president that you want to do. Like, I'm not saying that a president needs to be like the quintessential idea of a pastor. You know how the idea that a pastor needs to be like somebody's going to be offering themselves, right? Like, I'm not a Christian, but I like the image of a person who deliberately puts themselves out there and wants to help the people in need, serve the people, actually do that, and not want to be like, you know, the idea of the mega church pastor that we have today.
Pastor Creflo Dollar of the World Changers Church International facing harsh criticism after starting a fundraising campaign to buy this $65 million luxury private jet.
If I want to believe God for a $65 million plane, you cannot stop me. You cannot stop me from dreaming.
Because at least then it gives us like a guarantee that they are actually living that life. And I think that a similar thing applies now to politicians. Like there's nepotism of the wazoo. Recently we heard the deal with EA and Ibn Wilson, who is likely going to be working with the Saudis now, and how what is Jared Kushner and Silver Lake, who are investing in this bloody venture of 50 or so billion. Like, oh my god, how can something like that not make you angry? But like, yeah, you can argue that what they're doing is legal, but it's not right. It's your money. Like, it's literally not a thing that should be dividing people at all here. It's a huge class issue. The 1% that fucks everybody over. And you shouldn't be... You cannot be blind to that.
He was being fucking sworn in. He was still launching up to 168 new products. And that doesn't even include things like his cologne that he launched. You know, the fucking Trump Gooch Galore smell. The Trump watches, the Trump phone and shit like that. So that has only increased the amount of things that he is hawking to the American people to buy solely to enrich himself and his family. His fucking meme coin and all of that. His family is going ballistic in terms of how much money they are making off of his presidency.
Yeah.
They're not even hiding it. They are just constantly making money off of you. As you suffer and get less and less money, they get more and more. They are taking the pizza and not even leaving you bits and pieces, morsels of the crust.
Not even the crust.
It's sad, and yet people love it. They will accept it with a fucking smile on their face and say, please, give me some more.
More
I've got
slop,
more
please.
holes for you to fill. Please, come in here. I'm waiting. It's just absurd. They don't even stick to a single belief anymore. Like the Epstein files, I know I have made...
Listen. I'm not American, okay? I'm not. And it's likely a lot of people will be wondering, why do you even care? Well, it always trickles down, right? The US has this wonderful ability to have all of what is going on trickle down to the rest of the Western world and even further on. But US happenings comes on my news channels. Like, we have this tradition of watching the news while we eat dinner. I know that might be infuriating for some people, but I've done that ever since I was a kid, so we kind of instilled that as well in our household. And I see such thing as this trial of his FBI director refusing to answer any question that was related to the dealings of the administration. I'm like, come on. Come the fuck on. You can't be like this.
Attorney General, did President Trump direct you to prosecute his political opponents?
Before I don't answer, I'd like to insult you personally.
And people are just gonna suck it up because it's a sports game. Like, yeah, but the other side need to lose despite the fact that we're being fucked over.
A lot of content on in the past, so I'm not going to regurgitate that. But the Epstein files are a really good example of how they really cared about the Epstein files, and they were really upset at the failure of Joe Biden to release them in that administration. So they were hyping up Trump about all of his promises to release those Epstein files, which he has still not done and still actively just like discounts, and the entire administration denying the existence of now. And this same group of people that was so excited for Trump to follow through on that promise is now like, oh, he didn't break any promises. In fact, it's just not even important. That's why he's not doing it. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, who cares about the Epstein files? We have so many bigger things to worry about.
But that's for only the Democrats want the Epstein files to be blocked because Bill Clinton is in there. Bruv, send him to jail too! All the pedo protectors need to go. And especially from the party of we protect the children. We love our kids. But do you care about the people who abuse the kids? I don't know. I don't care about our shit. We just hate the elites, but you're supporting the elites. I don't know. Like, I'll give you a wonderful example. I have family in the US who moved from Texas, from the South, moved up to deep red Pennsylvania, and they are now living, or at least not now, they've been doing that for some years now, living close to farming communities, who now are suffering, like losing their shit because they are unable to afford their businesses because of the bloody tariffs. Not just that, there's of course the fact that a lot of the workers are now gone because of the migration policy.
1 in every 4 rows of soybeans in every field in the entire United States of America has to go abroad. China is the largest importer of soybeans in the world. They import 61% of the world's market. Last year, we sent around $12 billion, I think $14 billion worth of soybeans the year before. For the first time in 20 years, China's bought 0 soybeans and 0 new crop corn out of this country.
0?
So we went from 12 billion to 0.
Where are they buying the soybeans?
Brazil. You see, we lost 42% of our market share in the first tariff war. In Trump's first tariff war, the Chinese went to buying their soybeans from Brazil. They invested billions of dollars in Brazilian infrastructure. They have moved into Africa, and they're going to commercially farm in Africa. Since we left with USAID, they moved their Belt and Road program into Africa. So we've pretty much lost the Chinese market share. If we got 100% of the soybean business, Katie, for every country in the world except for Brazil and Argentina, we would still only have half the soybean business.
But the next product we're going to have to buy from Trump is. Like, they're just now saying, it doesn't matter. We don't care. We actually don't want this information. Actually, I believe everything they're saying now. Yeah, it definitely doesn't exist. Yeah, actually, Maxwell's probably innocent, too. But, again,
well,
I like to talk about that a lot.
He wants to pardon her.
Let's talk about some other stuff. The COVID vaccine. Trump just got a COVID booster. Not a conspiracy. Just out in the open, signed, documented, stamped. It is legitimate. Trump just got a COVID booster. And this administration has constantly
been anti-vax
into the MAGA fear of the jab. That was one of the big things with MAGA, is like how this is, contaminating us, poisoning us. They're trying to kill us with the jab.
Oh, you better not take that Tylenol. Oh, fuck, man. That shit was stupid. Yo, as I said before, people, if you want to get the best benefits of your superpowers of autism, Mad Max your Tylenol with some Monster Energy drink. You'll be speaking in hieroglyphic and casting gang signs by the end of the day.
And now Trump just got the vaccine booster, and those same people, like Gunther Dickelman, are now applauding him for it, sucking a fucking fart out of his butt for it, giving him a full rim job like, yes, the president's healthy, this is great news. Meanwhile, only a few months ago, a big talking point from him and so many others is the COVID vaccine and the evil of it. But now that Trump got the vaccine booster, well, now they love it. Well, now it's great. Actually, Trump probably got the vaccine booster because he's going to immediately give all of us herd immunity. He is using himself as a selfless sacrifice with the jab, so that way his aura of being immune to COVID will help infiltrate all of us via osmosis. So now we're all immune to COVID thanks to Trump getting the COVID vaccine booster. Or some crazy shit, maybe. That one I'm just spitballing, but I'm trying to find ways they'll mental gymnastics around it. But the sad reality is they're not even going to bother trying. They're just going to be like Gunther here, and just be like the good little NPC drone that's like, anything Trump does is great. Can't wait to swallow more Trump meat.
Yeah, and the sad part is that they are always going to try to do the mental gymnastic to excuse it. And it's like, why are you like this? Why is there never any type of accountability?
Even though it goes completely against all of the things he was talking about. Like, so many people that were talking about the jab and how evil it is and all of that are now celebrating that Trump got it. It's just so obvious. It's so blatant. Like fucking Cat Turd. I don't think I've seen anything from him on Trump getting the jab here. Just radio silence, just crickets. It's just ignore things that make you have to think. That is the cult mentality of MAGA. Anything Trump does is perfect. Anything that makes me think that maybe there's something else there, I shut out. I plug my ears to. It is fucking horrifying.
And it's not that you need to automatically agree with what the opposite side says. Absolutely not. Again, as I've tried to do here to show you examples with regards to the crypto stuff, is that it's a bipartisan issue. That's something that both sides suck at. And as I've said many times before, both parties uphold the status quo. You need to keep that in mind. It sucks that the US has only a two-party system, and anybody who is perhaps independent will never have will never truly have like the opportunity to get a true alternative. So that's why you need to vote for the actual policies and not just, the party.
Trump is now building a Qatari Air Force base in Idaho. Trump has accepted a huge $400 million Wumbo Turbo Superstar jet from Qatar. It's a crazy gift. That's one hell of a donation there. I don't want to toss the B word around too lightly here, the bribe nomenclature, but I mean, definitely smells a little fishy over here with that, especially in regards to what came soon after. He then signed a $5.5 billion deal with Qatar for a Trump golf course. Yippee, that's great for the American people. More Trump wealth that he accumulates here through this deal. And now he is putting a Qatar Air Force base on our homeland soil.
Led by whom? This dick. Who? I've never seen a person so so fucking disrespectful towards veterans in my life. Like, as a person who has like a couple of family members who have been in the military, while not of course being in the US, but these are people that I have a huge respect for because they literally dedicate their life to protect people. His behavior for a person who has been in the National Guard and could not even live up to the expectation because he was drunk all the time and was not fired, because we need to be very specific with our language every single time that we talk about this administration. So terrible at his job that he was about to and decided to leave of his own volition. A himbo who has slept his way to the top. A dude who promotes family values but has cheated on many of his wives. And a dude who has zero discipline stood forth and said to veterans who have had perhaps even twice his lifetime in experience in the military, saying that you need to engage with maximum lethality. I hate the fact that this administration is led by so many people with like Napoleon complexes. Like, I understand people who have divisive opinions, who sometimes can spark outrage with the thing that they say, if at least they show a degree of competency. All that I see here is just culture war. Nonsense, and even more nonsense. It's not fun. It's not like to the degree of the Democrats where like you can make fun of the stupid ass decisions that they will make and be like, oh yeah, it's just a tiny bit inconsequential because it's not going to be that earth shattering. What is happening here is pissing people off to an immense degree, and it's affecting Republicans too. And I'm saying specifically Republicans because I know I have Republicans in my audience. I know people who hate what is happening right now. But there's not a huge outrage on that side of the political aisle because, well, it is the sitting administration. And a lot, unfortunately, lean more MAGA than just a regular ass Republican who just wants to have things be better.
America first, right? Yeah, it's really America first thinking right there. Yeah, and then I've already seen the cope about how actually no, this is a joint training procedure. This is something that we do all the time actually. And I saw JD My Chemical Romance Vance talking today about like how it's actually just all fake news and stuff. Even though they have literally verbatim point blank said exactly what this deal is, and he is just denying that. So not even the administration is in agreement on their talking points right now. It's a fucking mess. And still, people are so brainwashed and mind controlled that they'll just accept it and be like, this is great. This is America first, actually, to put this Qatar Air Force Base in Idaho. That's actually exactly what I wanted. And then Trump always finds a way to surprise me with some crazy schizo posting late at night. So his most recent one is the Biden FBI placed 274 agents into the crowd on January 6th. If this is so, which it is, a lot of very good people will be owed big apologies. What a scam! Do something!
What do you mean? There were violent people who stormed into the Capitol, whom you pardoned, who later on went to do more crime. As if you didn't know about this? So what, all of those people were FBI agents?
There is so much wrong with that. I think he forgot to take his suppositories because holy shit, Trump was president on January 6th. Biden did not control the FBI. But you know what? Let's play ball here and dive into a fucking fever dream, a fantasy. Let's say Joseph Biden set down his ice cream, cracked his knuckles, and assumed direct control of the FBI on January 6th and placed all of these agents in here just as Trump says.
That one time where Joe Biden puts on the sunglasses and locks in. Oh, what's my ice cream cone? Oh, that senile old fart.
Well, why don't you do something about it? You are the president. Who are you asking to do something? God? Batman? Like, who are you trying to call? Who are you trying to summon to do something? You are the president. So if this is real, why aren't you doing anything? This is a classic President DJT maneuver here, the entire administration really, where they're like, all of these crimes from the Democrats, all of these absolutely abhorrent, vile crimes that the Democrats have done. No more playing nice, no more Mr. Nice Guy. We're showing our teeth, we're baring our fangs, and we're gonna get something done about it. And then nothing. It's all just posturing. It's all performative. It is a game, and they are playing you. They are preying upon your gullibility and your your inclination to be afraid.
Propensity.
To constantly keep you in fear, because when you
I think the word he was looking for was propensity.
are afraid, and when you are convinced that the other side is doing all of these things to get you, you are so fucking easy to control. You're so malleable. That's why they're playing that shit in the airports now about how, like, the Democrats are Satan and all of that. If you have all of this overwhelming evidence that you claim to have about all of these crimes and all of this shit that the Democrats have done, why have you done nothing? You would be just as guilty in that case.
Wait, airport in what the fuck? 2 more airports won't air DHS video blaming Democrats for shutdown. Oh my god. Seriously? That's some dickish behavior if I've ever seen one. Oh my god. We believe that the Hatch Act clearly prohibits using public assets for political purposes and messaging. A Portland International Airport official told the local ABC News affiliate, adding an Oregon law prohibits public employees from making partisan statements at airports. This is propaganda. There was a video that we covered on the channel before that had a girl saying it that way, so I'm just gonna borrow that. Propaganda.
But what is the quote? The only thing it takes for evil to succeed is for good men to do nothing? Well, if you know that all of this evil is happening from the Democrats and you're doing nothing, you're just as guilty. Like, this is so clearly obvious to anyone that's thinking for more than 5 fucking seconds. And you don't even need to be thinking for 5 seconds to see this new Truth Social stinker here that he squeaked out as anything other than just a sham. Like, this should just be alarming into the mental decline of Trump. He was president on January 6th. He controlled the FBI, not Biden. Biden was probably out riding his bike to a fucking twisty treat. I don't think he was down there as the puppet master pulling the strings, putting FBI agents in January 6th. It is so crazy, and yet people will just swallow it. They will swallow any shit that Trump feeds them happily, even when they know it's something bad. Like Ted Cruz saying that he got into Congress 13 years ago solely to represent the interests of Israel. He is an American politician who openly states that he is here for Israel. That, again, like I said, feels treasonous to me. And I imagine most people in a different time period would feel the same, but because of how tribalistic politics has become, if you're a big MAGA enthusiast, Trump supporter, you have to somehow just hand wave that and support it because that's what you're told you need to do. Even though anyone should be able to hear that and be concerned. Why does Israel have such a huge stranglehold on the American political landscape and such a massive say-so in how American companies do their business? And why do they even have, like, the ability to start making demands about what needs to be censored in regards to their atrocities on American platforms? It would be alarming to everyone if the political sphere wasn't just, I have to support everything from this side no matter what. It is fucking scary. Now, I do want to make a mention of something. It's not all horrible, awful news. There's actually a ceasefire going on right now.
Actually, a good thing happened with the Israel situation. People are actually going back now to their families. The 19? I can't remember the exact numbers. I think it was something like perhaps a couple of dozens or more than that Israeli who were in captivity were sent back, were like 1900s of Palestinians then were returned to their families. You kind of see the imbalance that is between the two nations, right?
And I can only pray that it sticks. With Netanyahu, you never really fucking know. But I can only keep my fingers crossed and pray for the absolute best for the Palestinians and hope that going forward, the people of Gaza will no longer need to fear being massacred by Netanyahu's IDF. Now, I know I said at the beginning of the video, the focus of this was going to be on the crypto collapse and the super lucky guy that happened to make $190 million going against all rational thinking and against all the odds. Truly a miracle. But I couldn't help myself. This is just so preposterous. But now let's finally dive into the crypto collapse. CoffeeZilla made a video going over this. It's extremely
He's covering the same
thing. I'm going to be showing you some clips of that as we talk about it.
I don't even know what this is. I think this is all legal, kind of. I don't think it should be, as you'll see.
Thing is, even if it wasn't legal, it wouldn't matter. There will be no justice pursued regardless, because I think it's pretty clear that whoever this is, they are part of Trump's inner circle of cronies, and they had this knowledge beforehand, what was coming. And it doesn't take a genius to recognize that imposing these huge tariffs on China was going to have a huge effect on the market. So it was a pretty easy opportunity for them to short with that knowledge in mind and make an unbelievable amount of money. Again, if it is legal, it shouldn't be, like CoffeeZilla says, but even if it isn't legal, it won't matter, because they're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah.
But the question is, what did this guy know? Okay, how did somebody make $190 million while everyone else was losing their shirts yesterday? If you don't know, there was one of the biggest crashes we've ever seen in crypto. And someone starts to get shorted at 12 hours later. And then the president tweets something like this, you would all the way up till 2049. Not only do they not do that, not only do they not close out their short, they continue to place short bets against, which of course tanks the market. And this person makes literally $190 million in 24 hours.
Then over the course of the next half hour, they close out all of their shorts and they cash out big time. Jackpot. Wow, did they get lucky or what, huh? Man, I cannot believe the coinky-dink there. Shorting all the way up until 1 minute before Trump's tweet. Geez, some guys have all the luck. You would actually need to be the biggest fucking stupidest troglodyte on the planet to think that this was just like a lucky, miracle trade here from this individual. This is clearly someone that had information about what was coming. The speculation is that it's Barron Trump. There's a lot of people that are providing their loose evidence that it's Barron. Nothing's confirmed on who this is, and I don't think there will ever be confirmation on who this was. But it doesn't take a galaxy brain 5-digit IQ genius to see this and recognize that the only way that something like this happens is if that person had prior knowledge of what was coming. There is no other explanation for it. So while everyone else lost tons of money, some people lost everything. This crash was so colossal that some people took their own lives because of it. The only way that someone went totally against the grain all the way up until 1 minute before the fucking, bomb dropped from Trump here is if they knew it was coming.
And it needs to be made clear again for people who still don't get it. As somebody who does enjoy supporting for what I can the content creators that I follow by buying their merch. I've got the dog mug at home. I've got some of the gamer sub stuff from other content creators like Breaky and such. And actually here I have it. The shirt here from my favorite Aussie Martin Sitopins, right? Unless the stuff that I'm buying is manufactured in a different country. Like, for example, this shirt I'm wearing, I know the beauty of editing is that you don't get to see me strip down. Like, this shirt that I'm wearing is made in Macedonia, right? These creators and any other business owners who own stuff that are being made in China will be paying the cost of them being shipped over. Perhaps even to the point where they can't even afford paying it back. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. These retaliatory tariffs that are just being imposed because the man just doesn't know how to actually deal with people and only wants to strong arm them isn't helping anybody beside him.
Like, it's just, I think it is so clear. And the only way you could possibly think anything else is if you're already brainwashed and mind controlled and stuck in a cult mentality. I really don't know what it will take to snap people out of this. The people that are just so far gone and willing to deny all the evidence of their eyes and ears, that they're constantly being told that they need to. Following these orders of just deny everything that you see and hear from this administration and everything going on. I don't know how you bring them back into, like, being able to think. Like, actually be able to think. It's fucking terrifying. It's actually extremely scary. So yeah, I wanted to yap about this morning. That's really about it. So yeah.
Bruv, I've heard people say that, well, at least I'm brainwashed the right way. What do you say to that? What do you say to that? But I think it's important for people to understand, regardless of political parties, that a lot of what is happening here is mostly a class issue. You cannot possibly want people. Like, you cannot possibly be in support of people who are trying to say that your empathy is weaponized, that you should not care for your fellow citizens, even for perhaps those who don't have the nationality. When you're witnessing people being tackled, rammed out of their cars by ICE agent and whatever, it is so frightening. Things are being happening there, but the excuse for that is that but a little bit of evil needs to happen so that we get the good. Huh? Like, sorry for borrowing a very American term here, but fuck that noise. I hate that. You should care for each other. And yeah, that goes for Democrats, that goes for leftists, that goes for right-wingers too, and the conservatives. Damn.